All right, so I wanted to make an update to the really old title screen editor video. A Foundry is a wonderful editor that is seeking to bring Mario 3 ROM hacking into the present day. Many people have helped to make that happen. Most prominently, of course, Michael and Joe Smo. And as much work as both of them have done with these tools, we still don't have a better solution for title screen editing than this ancient program. So we're thankful for what we got, but doesn't mean that we can't seek to improve, right? So file loaded. Just go ahead and load up your ROM, and if your ROM is compatible with it, which it should be, unless you did some heavy rearranging in the disassembly, then you'll see this. This P, all it does is swap the palette for the sake of working with it in the moment. This doesn't have any bearing on what shows up. Now, which one is the realistic one? It's this one. Okay? That's the one that is actual. So it's probably best to work with the one that represents the actual palette of your game. Alright, so where do we go from here? First of all, this is not nearly as difficult as it seems. It's a little bit weird at first, yes, but it's not difficult. So just be patient with yourself, and you can work through it. So I'm going to start with this right here. What this is palette per tile, okay? This color coding of peach, light yellow, this lavender blue color, and then magenta. These represent how those tiles will be drawn. Okay, so you can actually, now that you know that piece of information, you can look over here and say, okay, well, I know that 3, it flashes. Okay, so that pink must represent, flashing effect. Okay, so it does. All right, so wherever you see that pink, that magenta color, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be that. Okay, so let's pause and move to something else, and we'll come back. Right here, those are the colors that it's going to cycle through. You could change them right from here. You can change them right there, or you can disable it. Okay, so that's what that represents. If we color all of these yellow ones to that pink, guess what's going to happen? It's going to color that the same as it does that. You want to see how that looks? Well, I don't have a controller hooked up right now, so sorry, just use your imagination. But that's what would happen, okay? So likewise, you just go along and you do the same with other areas of the title screen. Now, of course, most people, if they're going to go through the trouble of doing a custom title screen, which I think is very much worth the trouble, then they're probably not going to keep these same graphics. Whatever is in this portion of the graphics table, it's going to show up here. Okay? And I'll pull up a different one for an example here in a minute. But all you do, once you have this loaded up and you're ready to change the graphics, is patiently, one tile at a time, make the change. There's no grid on here, so it can be easy at times to make mistakes. Okay? Like I probably just made one and I didn't even realize it. You can reference the actual numbers. So you can say like, all right, I'm on tile 41 right now. Next one I should select should be 51. Okay. And then 61. So you just patiently go through and replace each tile according to your desired output. You say, well, that's very tedious. Yeah, it's very tedious. So what you want to do, if at all possible, is retain placement of tiles and then change their values. So that's to say, and that's not always possible, but that's to say in this case, let's say you wanted to name this boot camp. Okay. What you can do is in the graphics table, change it so that wherever it says super here, it says boot. Okay. Wherever it says the REOB right there, camp, or something like that. So I'm going to show an example now of what I did. Okay. All right. So you can see that this is actually how it looks. Okay. So a couple things here. I wanted to use as much space as possible and make these military style letters real chunky and bold, So what I did was I only have one O, right? So that makes sense, because why do you need two O's? You just redraw the second from the first. So that's what I did. Okay. I retained the bushes, the clouds, and of course I added the boot and I added the Goombas. But take note that I've got a variant on the top left half of this guy. So we gave this this giant Goomba in the top left a black eye, right, from having to deal with this fella in the boot. So you add your custom elements, you place them thusly, and you got your title screen. This takes a lot of time. If you get done with your hack and you're like, all right, good, now I just got to do the title screen. You need to pump the brakes and realize that this is the billboard for your hack. This takes a good chunk of time with our current tools, and you get it done right, and be willing to mess around with it. I will say this also: make sure to make backups before you do anything with these kind of tools, especially, because you don't want to corrupt your whole hack because you did something and it messed up. And likewise, you can kind of do some rudimentary version control. So, if you like what you did with the hack, make a copy of it and then make new changes off of that copy. So if you mess up too bad, you can just revert to the previous. Because otherwise, you're just going to have to retrace your steps manually if you make a mistake. Let me see. Anything else? As you see here, I was able to do a lot with this space. If I got rid of these bushes, look how much extra space I would have to do something else. Of course, these bushes are very efficient, right? Like, they got a lot of mileage out of these tiles here. But I was able to fit in a boot, Raccoon Mario, which I thought looked really good. Originally, I had a full-size Mario head here. This looks way better. I think it was double bass Brian H's idea. In fact, it was to use giant Goombas here as opposed to the normal size Goombas. The giant Goombas look way better. But yeah, none of us are selling our hacks, so everyone knows this is Mario 3, so go ahead and put your name down there, where Nintendo usually is. Spend some time, draw out each letter of your font. This is a slow content. This is a slow stuff, but work with it. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the tools that we have, and you'll do good. As for this area right here, I believe this is reserved for curtain rays, so you really don't want to mess with that. You could, of course, mess with this checkerboard floor, but you know, I think it looks great. I never wanted to mess with it. I changed the color from white to cream, you know, that light cream color. So that color's in those clouds as well, I believe, from the same palette. But I'm not going to get into this area here, partially because I can't remember which colors do which. Your best bet, I know this isn't helpful in a tutorial video, but your best bet is to just play around with it and see which colors do what. And if you don't see that it changed anything, go ahead and change it back. And then keep poking around until you find which colors do which. Of course, this is a direct draw from the disassembly, or I should say from the compiled ROM, but you could go into the disassembly and see these palettes listed in the same order. So I guess if you went into a hex editor and put these values in, it would take you to this exact place in the ROM, so that through an emulator you can change these values and see them kick on real time. But you can do the same here. This updates it as well. Let me just show you real quick. Alright, so I'm pretty sure if I change this here, 36, change that to 39, double click that. Alright, I don't know what that did, so I'm going to change it back. Let me see. Let's see about this one. Change this 36 to 39. Well, that didn't do anything either. So let's change it back. Let's see. Let's change this 36 to a 39. See what happens. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So as you can see, that tinted those clouds green, and the checkerboard floor is now green and black. So what we're going to do is just change it back. But before I do that, let me change this back. Okay, and I don't know. There we go. So we're going to change this 36, 39 back to a 36. Or we could just see what these other ones would look like. That looks nice. A little more yellow. 36 looks more cream, but it's like a light peach, really. So just mess around with the values. Obviously this green, this neon green and darker green is going to represent the bushes. So we could change that and see what happens. 2A to 1C. Yep. Okay, so we'll change that back to 2A. Okay, and there we go. So that's 13 plus minutes, almost 14-minute video on the title screen editor. A powerful tool. There's plenty of things that could be done better about it, but you know, not by me. So who am I to complain too much? So that is that. I hope it helps, and God bless.